Hello and welcome to this edition of The Hub on CGTN. I'm Wang Guan in Beijing. Today we're co-hosting a panel discussion with the Embassy of Pakistan in China to have a frame-ranging conversation with ambassadors, cultural figures, and witnesses to China-Pakistan relations over the past few decades. We asked them how come this relationship between China and Pakistan can stay so strong and so resilient over the years and decades. Here is our conversation. And now is the panel discussion from summit halls to shared stories. We're very honored to have a cutting-edge group of witnesses, scholars, and those who really lived this relationship through the decades. So let's get to it. Madam Geng Jing, let me introduce her first. She is the chairperson of China Cultural Heritage Foundation. Also, should I note, her grandfather was the former Chinese ambassador to Pakistan. Not only, her grandfather was also the vice premier of People's Republic of China visiting Pakistan in the 1970s, a photo of which was captured outside.
We always talk about iron brothers. What is the Ba-tie? How Ba-tie was formed? How will the Ba-tie relationship continue? And how can we understand it now?
Your
Excellency, Ambassador, or the distinguished guests, good afternoon. This year is the 74th anniversary of the diplomatic relations of China and Pakistan. Over the past decades, actually, our relationship has transcended the mere diplomatic relations. In the last century, both of our countries were riddled with a lot of problems, but the two countries, we brothers, have joined hands to build the Kasav-Kunlun highway, which was built with lives and the sweat and blood, which has been a symbol for the relationship and the friendship of the two countries. This highway itself is already the common heritage of the two countries, and all those touching stories happened with several generations have already engraved in the minds and hearts of the two people in our genes. So the two peoples never forget our initial motivation, and this is a spiritual heritage of us. And today we have seen so many pictures which bring us a lot of good memories. Our friendship has withstood a lot of tests and the twists and turns, and also witnessed our solidarity and friendship. This friendship is also originated from our solid tenacity. We always remember each other whenever we are in the good shape or in the bad conditions.
Pakistan has been our ironclad brother, not only in words, but through so many multilateral and bilateral occasions. And I think one person knows better than many, that is Ambassador Hashmi. It is, by the way, not his first posting to China. It is your third, right? Second posting to China. I would like to, of course, invite you, Ambassador, to first of all, if you don't mind, comment on what Madam Geng had just said, and also by telling us a bit about the role of conventional diplomacy, for which you have been so deeply engaged in carrying forward this relationship and building one milestone after another.
I want to first of all, once again, thank our friends, first and foremost, Madam Geng, Ambassador Zhang, and others, Professor Tang Wang-Cheng, Professor Li, Nasreen, and Professor Zhou, for joining us today for this panel. And I want to begin by something what Madam Geng mentioned. And I think it is so true. It is now ingrained in our DNA to be supportive of each other, to stand by each other in good times and in not so good times. That has been our tradition, And I think that is the case now, and going forward, that will be certainly the case. And I say this with conviction because what I have seen, at least in my career over 30 years, this is what I have seen. Many storms have come and passed. Many regional and international changes have occurred. But there is one constant, and that is Pakistan-China friendship. This is a friendship and a partnership that just not emerge out of thin air. There is a lot of hard work on both sides. There is a lot of attention, joint efforts. So from the Pakistani side, I think the 1960s was conspicuous because 3-4 things happened. Of course, our diplomatic relations, they were established in 1951 and a lot of work went into it. But 60s, I want to point out, the first one was, I think, which was a big transformational thing that happened, and that was our two countries coming together and negotiating and finalizing a border treaty. So that was one of the first ones that China concluded with its neighbors in modern times. Soon after, the next year, was the Pakistan International Airlines, the first non-communist country to operate. And I think Pakistan International Airlines became, in many ways, a window to China for the world, because many leaders, many people from China, they use Pakistan International Airlines from Beijing, from Shanghai, to go to Karachi and then onwards. And I think that was 20th century connectivity that was put together at that time. And as you mentioned, Dr. Kissinger's visits to China were facilitated by Pakistan, and that became another window for China to the world. And fourth was, I think, the foundation was laid in the 1960s, and that was to pave the way for China's rightful entry into the United Nations and to reclaim its legitimate seat at the UN Security Council. So in all these endeavors, I think Pakistan stood out and always lent a helping hand. But I want to emphasize again, this is just to, I'm as a representative of my country, I'm just highlighting 4 aspects or 4 events which in my view had in many ways transformational impact. And this is the thing I wanted to highlight as the building blocks and the joint efforts and hard work on both sides. What I wanted to emphasize equally was also that there were so many gestures and so many efforts and so many contributions from China as well. Chinese leaders in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and later on, whenever we faced threats to our sovereignty or territorial integrity, China stood by us, and also at the United Nations and elsewhere. So this is a friendship which has probably no parallel in modern history. And of course, the conventional diplomacy plays a very important role in nurturing and nourishing this relationship. That's our daily job. But I think it is equally important that we recognize the contributions made by people like Madam Gang, people like Professor Tang Mengshang, people like Nasreen, Professor Zhou, and Professor Lee, because they are also an important ambassadors of our friendship at the people level. So they are the faces, but they are also the drivers, and they are the real promoters of this very unique friendship between our two countries in the modern era.
You might think you are better informed in an information age. The fact is, people are more often misled by misinformation. You might think every voice is heard in a digital world. The fact is, many nations and peoples are still underrepresented. And data poverty shuts out many. We at CGTN are committed to transcending the information gap and the digital divide. CGTN, bridging nations and civilizations. CGTN, see the difference.
We are all connected. Across borders, across continents, connected by ideas, a shared humanity. Stay connected.
Ambassador Zhang Chunxiang, at the early 21st century, he was the Chinese ambassador to Pakistan. So I would like to invite Mr. Zhang Chunxiang to recall those memories at that time, because the international conditions was very complicated. So could you just share with us what's the milestones of the relations between the two countries?
各位朋友啊，感谢大使邀请我参加这个活动。
Thank you, the ambassador, for inviting me to join this activity. I'm very happy to share with you my story in Pakistan. When I was a student learning world language, I started to deal with Pakistan friends. Now 50 years have passed. After my graduation, I was involved in the road construction as an interpreter. The road was constructed actually between 65 to 71. We constructed 2.1 kilometers of road. After that, the second year, the glacier flood came, which destroyed the bridges. We call it a kind of flood forming lakes. Then I joined the second batch of the construction teams. I was assigned to the glacier research team. It was hard work. You can tell from the name. The glacier was the fifth largest glacier in the world. There were many disastrous conditions. I worked about 5,000 meters above the sea level. I worked there for 4 months with people from Tibet region. Our investigation was to investigate the local conditions between the glaciers and the land. What was the relationship between the two? What was the disaster to be caused by the glacier to the land? Then we can avoid the disasters. Later years of my work, I was working as the translator for 3 years in a construction team. The team managed the 3 construction teams and many local workers. After that, I came to the embassy to work. I experienced firsthand how to construct the road. Pakistani friends who are more than 60 can sing the Chinese song, I love Tiananmen Square, because we've seen it every day. So the friendship went deep to everybody's heart between our two sides. When there was an accident, when there was a casualty, we rushed to the rescue. I rescued Pakistani workers who were injured, and Pakistani rescue workers rescued Chinese workers as well. So our friendship is bonded by flesh and blood. So with this story, you would understand how the Bati Iron Brother can come. Iron Brother is the real thing, a real reflection from our daily life. We are iron brothers to Pakistan people, and Pakistan people are iron brothers of Chinese. I lived and worked in Pakistan for 23 years when our friendship increased several levels. I witnessed countless milestone visits. Some many years of working in Pakistan, we can see what are the milestones of our relationship. I think about 5 milestones. In 70 or 80 years, 1970s and 80s, Kalagonglo Road was a milestone. Why the road was constructed? Why, when China was so poor, we still insisted to construct the road? Because we needed to break the siege of international community. So this is the one milestone, right? You agree with me, right? Kalakunlun KKH Road. It was a window for China to go to South Asia. It is a one milestone. When I was young, I was involved in the construction of KKH. When I was an ambassador, I was involved in the construction of a Qatar port. Qatar port was constructed in 36 months. I visited there 5 times. So this port was a special agreement between China and Pakistan.
The third milestone, China helped Pakistan during my term to help with the aircraft. That time is the Xiaolong compact aircraft. So this is the third milestone. As the fourth milestone is there's a frigate which can carry the helicopter. So the helicopter can land on the frigate. The most latest frigate delivered to Pakistan was more upgraded in the past 2 or 3 years. So this is a kind of frigate for the Navy. And there are lots of other help. And also our cooperation is aviation and aerospace. So I might personally witnessed those corporations helped Pakistan to launch the satellites, like to help the satellite Pakistan. I personally witnessed and also helped with some liaison, and also one that is still kept a secret in the aviation aircraft, the airspace Shenzhou. That was in 1997. At the end of that time, a delegation visited Pakistan and asked me to pay a visit to those facilities for the satellite launching equipment. So we have lots of corporations.
郑大师，我觉得您
I
真的
think
应该
that
写
you really need to write a book. We will buy it definitely. So please join me in a big applause. Thank Mr. Zhang for his devotions.
还有见证。Ms. Zhou Nasring is director of Urdu Language Department at Beijing Foreign Studies University. And she has been really fostering cultural and student exchanges between our 2 countries. On the current state of educational exchanges between our 2 countries, and how you plan to, carry it forward.
For me, I have been teaching Urdu for almost 20 years at Beijing Foreign Studies University, and every 4 years we welcome a new batch of undergraduate students. And in recent years, we have begun training master's students. These students are not simply language learners, they become bridges between our 2 nations. What stands out to me is how student motivation has changed over time. In the very early years, many students were transferred to Urdu, not by choice, but often because their college entrance exam scores didn't allow them entry into some more popular Western language programs. But this has changed dramatically, especially since the launch of Belt and Road Initiative Urdu is now increasingly a first-choice major, and our students are drawn to the promise and potential of China-Pakistan cooperation, and they see Urdu as a direct path to contribute meaningfully. Second, their career trajectories now closely reflect this new awareness. Our graduates are finding more opportunities in diplomacy, foreign trade, media, and think tanks, etc. They are actively working to advance China-Pakistan relations. They are proud that their knowledge can serve a higher purpose in global cooperation. So, in this new chapter of our shared story, it is this younger generation, curious, capable, and committed, that gives me the greatest hope. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now, floor is yours, Professor Zhou.
15年前，马苏德汗
15 years ago, when Ambassador Han was the ambassador in China, who gave me a book, The General Condition of Pakistan. Several days ago, I opened the book, saying the history of Pakistan. I've discovered some Chinese characters. Starting from that book, we established a study team to study the stamps. And we translated all the stamps from the book. Why we did that? Because it was Chinese characters can be dated back 4,500 years ago. It was appeared in Pakistan. More standardized the character than the oracle. So this is the first value. Second value, the Indo River civilization has many intertwined Chinese civilizations.
融合。
好，谢谢您。We do have today with us Professor Tang Mengsheng, Director of Pakistan Studies Center at Peking University. Professor Tang, thank you so much for being with us. 作为中巴文化交流的使者，
As the ambassador and witness of China-Pakistan cultural exchanges and educator, after seeing the photo exhibition and listening to the other speakers' words, what are you thinking right
实际
now?
上，我们中巴文化教育
Actually, our exchange in education is thriving because the platform of education exchanges is very powerful and unique, especially among the third world countries. Especially after Chinese President Xi Jinping visited Pakistan in 2015, the platform of educational cooperation between our two countries have been thriving. Why this kind of academic exchanges can be continued? It was because of a strong political mutual trust between our two countries. The political mutual trust is the solid foundation for educational exchanges and the most powerful impetus. Another point is that we have different cultures and political systems between our two sides, which have given us many subjects of study. Third one is political and economic cooperation require us to do the academic study. So in my opinion, apart from the platform of educational exchanges, we also need to build up more mechanisms of communication among universities. Through this kind of university cooperation, we can introduce our high technology to Pakistan, and Pakistan can share their knowledge with us. By working together, we can make a concerted effort to address some common challenges. In this way, we can promote the technology development and educational cooperation between two sides. Thank you very much.
做出更大的贡献。谢谢各位。
好，感谢您的肺腑之言。
Thank you for your suggestion for the future cooperation.
Now we also have Dr. Li Ruohong, Chairman of Peace Garden Museum. I'd like to ask him about, the utility, the role that he sees in having museums as a powerful vehicle in moving our relationship forward.
Dr. Li, my question is, as a space of aesthetics and living, how can in promoting the bilateral tie?
好，感谢主持人，感谢大使阁下和
Thank you, the moderator, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, the ambassadors. Thank all dear friends for listening to me. Thanks to my living and work experiences, I witnessed the bilateral tie development from the beginning over the past 7 decades. Talking about a museum is a place for collection, study, education, and information sharing. It is also a platform for international cooperation and artistic development. Pakistan is an important country along the Silk Road. Together with UNESCO, we worked together since the beginning of the Belt and Road Initiative. We worked together to promote the cultural exchanges between China and countries along the ancient Silk Road. The project was supported by Secretary General Guterres, who made the introduction of the project to many countries.
Among those relations, we feel that it's necessary to carry more cooperations in the cultural heritage, because Pakistan also has many cultural heritage which was included in the list of the UNESCO. And also the cooperations in the media, especially between the two countries, we should deepen some of the cooperations in the media, and also to expand the cooperations among the young people between the two countries.
青少年的之间的合作。
And that will do it for this special edition of the Hub on CGTN. I'm Wang Guan in Beijing. I'll see you again next time.